Civilization or Barbarism in Authentic Anthropology by Dr. Cheikh and Diop. Babylonian mathematics offer us the example of a formula established empirically and related to the same volume of the truncated pyramid. It leads to V equals 1 half H A squared plus B squared. A formula less than approximate, let us say, manifestly false. Square root, so called Pythagorean theorem, and irrational numbers. We know that the Egyptians knew how to rigorously extract the square root, even of the most complicated whole or fractional numbers. The term that served to designate the square root in the Pharaonic language is significant in that respect. The right angle of a square, nebet, to make the angle, equals to extract the square root. Now, the Egyptians defined a fundamental unit of length called double remen, which is equal to the diagonal of a square of a little side a, equal 1 cubit, or royal. In other words, if d is that diagonal, then one necessarily has, by definition of this length itself, double remen. D equals a divided by 2 square root equals square root 2 times 20.6 equals 29.1325 inches. The royal cubit equals 20.6 inches, figure 46. The remen equals d over 2 equals square root of 2 over 2 a times a equals 14.6 inches. The Egyptians, who thus determined the diagonal of the square from the value of the side, and who mastered the calculation of the extraction of the square root, knew, as the definition above proves, the irrational number par excellence, which is 2, as they also knew the transcendent number, also irrational, the theorem of the square, of the diagonal, falsely attributed to Pythagoras, at least in the case of the isosceles right-angled triangle, to stick just to the undeniable facts. The Egyptians, who knew how to calculate the surface of a triangle, certainly wrote the following equation, followed by an extraction of the square root. S equals 1 half times a squared equals 1/4 d squared. A squared equals 1 half times d squared equals 2a squared equals d squared. Whence a square root of 2 equals d equals a double remen. Whence it is certain that by bringing these facts of the properties of the sacred triangle, right angled triangle, together, always dealing with the square of the hypotenuse, one finds that the Egyptians knew the theorem attributed to Pythagoras perfectly well, as others have affirmed. This definition of the double remen by itself and its mathematical implications clearly show that Pythagoras was neither the inventor of irrational numbers, incommensurability of the diagonal and of the side of the square, nor of the theorem that bears his name. He took all these elements from Egypt, where he had been, as reported by his biographers. Jamblichus, a pupil of the priest for 22 years. We'll pause right there and continue back with this Civilization of Barbarism, Chapter 16. I'm Uriel Riley. Highest Heart.